Hi everyone, it's Andy Weatherall again from Stoke Haunted, and today I'd like to talk, or would like to take the opportunity into talking about kit. What kit do you need when you start a paranormal team? Two most interesting kit that you can get are eyes and ears. Start off with your eyes and ears because they'll never let you down, hopefully. I would recommend anyone to buy the best camcorder you can buy. Don't buy cheap because you'll buy twice. That's always been my philosophy in life. If it's something that you're going to do as a pastime or a hobby, if you buy cheap, within 12 months you'll be spending more money, which means if your first camcorder cost you £200, the next camcorder cost you £400, you've just outlaid £600 when you could have spent £400 in the first place. So get the best camera you buy, you can get hold of. I'm not a firm believer of modified camcorders that people have modified and go out and do investigations with. At best, most of the modifications are cheap, nasty modifications where they just pop out the IR blocking filter and sell them on at 3 times the face value of the camera. If you want a camera modified, make sure it's done properly. Don't buy one of these cheap Japanese knockoffs that you just pop out the infrared filter. They're good, but they're not that good. They're not as good as a purpose-built infrared camcorder. So get the best you can afford at the time. Next piece of equipment, a K2 meter. Always a useful piece of kit. You can download applications on your phone. The only problem with having a K2 meter on your phone is it's an electromagnetic piece of equipment, so it's going to be interfered with the moment you switch it on, so it's not going to give you a true reading, but it's better than nothing. The third thing you should be looking at is a dictaphone. Now, I'm on the shelf about dictaphones, and I've done a video about dictaphones. I found that the cheaper the dictaphone, the better you get results than the more expensive recording pieces of equipment. I put that down to poor filtering in cheap pieces of equipment and just the technical specs and builds. They do tend to give false positives, so again, get the best dictaphone or recording device that you can if you're going to stick to the hobby. I mean, there's plenty of second-hand equipment out there. Just go and fish it out, but don't buy cheap, because again, you buy cheap, you buy twice. Always get yourself a decent torch, and the one thing that you will be spending lots of money on if you've got equipment, and that's batteries. What a ball ache. Batteries, battery chargers, becomes a joke. If I'm doing an investigation on a Saturday, all day Friday is spent charging batteries. One thing you must do when you're in a paranormal team is to charge your battery, if not on the day of the investigation, the day before. Pet 8 is going on an investigation. Somebody only used a camera for 15 minutes 2 weeks ago on the last investigation. They throw it in the kit bag, they get the other end, and they think that battery's going to hold its charge. Most lithium ion batteries discharge in your camera bag. Every time I do an investigation, every time I press the record button on my camera, the battery goes on charge when it goes away. It's that simple. Batteries don't suffer the memory effect like they used to do years and years ago, so even if you've only lost 1 bar out of 5, it's not going to cause any problems to the battery on your camcorder just to top it back up to that 1 bar. What you will notice over time, that your camera will not hold its charge for long, but I've had batteries 4 or 5 years and they still work like a dream. I like to flatten batteries occasionally, run them completely flat, charge them. Never leave a battery discharged. That's a definite no-no. I've learnt my lesson thrown a battery in my camera bag, forgot about it 2 or 3 weeks in a discharge state, and trying to get it back up charge and hold its charge has always been a failure. So keep them topped up regularly and keep in touch with your batteries. All my batteries, if you've ever been on an investigation, are all numbered, and I like to circulate them. I don't like to use battery 1 on every investigation. It'll be battery 1, battery 2. I'll probably get through 4 or 5 batteries per investigation, but I like to rotate them round. So if I use batteries 1, 2, 3 and 4, next investigation it'll be 5, 6, 7 and 8, but 1, 2, 3 and 4 will be charged, ready to go. So that's something that you should always look into. Any other pieces of equipment, just because you've got an infrared camera, don't think that the infrared illuminator on the front of the camera will be good. They aren't. I've not known any camera yet that's got a decent infrared light for any decent work. Anything more than 10 feet with the built-in light, there's no chance. Buy yourself a decent infrared light. Now, I've bought infrared lights off the internet from people that construct them, homebrew constructed lights, and yes, they work, but I've not really come across one unless you know different, or unless you produce a said light. But I've tried 5 or 6 different lights on cameras over the years and found either the build quality or battery consumption is always worse than a factory produced product. Now, I tend to use the HVIR range Sony. Not that I'm sponsored by Sony, wish I was, but I find them the most reputable, the most reliable, the most robust lights I've used. Like I say, I have got cheap lights that I've bought from the internet and lights off people that I know in the industry that make up lights to sell on the paranormal field. And the thing I've found with them, if anything, they're not any better than the Sony light. Where the Sony light excels is battery consumption. I've got some lights now that they run on a 9 volt PP3 battery, and you switch them on and within 40 minutes your battery's done. Same scenario with a Sony light, which it's debatable if it's any better or any worse light distribution, but 4 hours into the investigation the battery still works. And you can't be arsed changing batteries every 5 minutes. It's just something that you don't need. You need something that's got an half decent battery life and something that gives a reliable output, and I find it's, for me personally, it's Sony lights. So any other pieces of equipment that you need, buy what you think's necessary, and don't knock all applications that you can download on your phone. They all have their own uses. Another must is to keep Paranormal Teams happy as a ghost box, because when it gets boring and nothing's happening, turn on your ghost box, see what's happening on there, see if there's any life on your ghost box. Take them with a pinch of salt what actually comes out of them, because there's a lot of good and bad out there, but you get what you pay for. So we'll leave it there for now. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to add, rate and subscribe, and until the next time, this is Andy Weatherall saying take care, happy hunting.
I'm Kylie. Don't miss it, right here.